The Warriors opened up their biggest homestand of the year against the Bucks and pulled out a key win, as their biggest offseason acquisitions and D'Anthony Melton and Al Horford continue to show their value. After either missing the start of the season or getting off to slow starts, I want to break down how this duo can help knock down perimeter shots, provide quality defense, and take pressure off the Warriors stars, and why this could be what it takes the Dubs to the next level. So let's get to it. After rehabbing from his ACL injury, D'Anthony Melton was brought in as a secondary ball handler who can be a point of attack defender and, most importantly, knock down perimeter shots. Al Horford was brought in as a playoff big with paint protection skills and a three-point range. Horford is a borderline Hall of Famer with extremely high basketball IQ. Here he flips the drag screen at the last minute where Steph sees Miles turn into high show coverage with Trent Jr. chasing over the screen. Observe Horford's ability to roll using his inside foot extremely efficiently to be wide open for the short roll pass, and now we have a 4-on-3 advantage on the backside. AJ Green makes a mistake of rotating one pass away to stunt, even though Melton has not proven himself to be a shooter yet this season, while Kyle Kuzma has already moved over as the weak side low man. Melton slides all the way down to the corner where Al delivers him a pinpoint pass. The Warriors simply have to knock down these wide open shots if they want to compete for anything meaningful in the playoffs. I'm tired of guys like Moses Moody missing these type of looks. If you want to compete, you simply have to knock down wide open shots, as obviously as that sounds. Melton gets this one to go. The great thing about Melton is that he's the fantastic decision maker and is pretty much an NBA veteran now. Here he comes for the on-ball screen for Steph, and with Rollins playing a show and not coming up to the level of the screen, and Trent Jr. fighting over the pick and not automatically switching, this gives Melton the opportunity to roll and get another successful short roll pass. We have the same 4-on-3 advantage on the backside, and with Miles Turner coming over as the weak side low man, the Warriors' spacing on the weak side is terrible, as AJ Green can easily cover both players. Now this is something I wish Butler and Draymond would do more, as in looking for their own shot off the short roll and stop passing up wide open looks out to the perimeter. It sometimes pisses me off. Melton sees his coverage and instead dribbles into an open 8-foot float shot since that was the best available opportunity. Great look here. This camera angle was funky when watching live, but it's the only clip I can find. We can see Al Horford's incredible decision making off the short roll pass as well. Al comes for the on-ball pick, and you can see Portis in a high show. Look at Horford using his physicality to shield Porter Jr. from recovering back to Steph. And no, that's not a moving screen because it's not even a screen, which allows Horford to roll cleanly. As Curry keeps his dribble alive with no pressure, he finds Al with a slick pass right in the paint. Kuzma is supposed to be the correct weak side rotation, but Gary Harris somehow comes over as well, but I want to highlight Horford's court mapping ability, and the fact he knew to kick it out immediately to the wide open Moses Moody on the wing. This forces a longer closeout from Harris, and Moody reloads and finally hits an open three-pointer. This might be the best all-around highlight of the night, showing Al's complete game from defense to offense. Horford is playing a drop coverage on Kuzma at the free throw line, and his ridiculous hesitation as a 6'9 forward who is a champion is hilarious. He decides to miss the left-hand brick, but Portis gets a rebound. Look at Al keeping his hands straight up the entire time to avoid fouling, and I've noticed the skill set of waiting for the opposing player to rise to the very apex before Al gets his hands in and then blocks this cleanly. Now the Warriors get the loose ball, and on the semi-fast break with Pods handling the ball, Horford sprints over to the left wing and he knew exactly what to do. Using the adrenaline of his shot block, Al sees that the Bucks have two focused on Pods for some reason, and spots up to load a 26-footer with just 5 seconds off the shot clock. I don't want to call this a heat check, but this is a heat check 3 and is a huge momentum builder for the Warriors. Now let's show an example of Jimmy Butler being a clown off the roll pass, unlike the other two. Jimmy is sending an on-ball screen, and you can tell Kuzma is adjusting and ready to trap. The Warriors sometimes countered this coverage by running a triangle offense, in which Steph first swings it one pass away to the wing to the open Horford, where now the roll man and Butler can dive to the basket with Porter Jr. behind since two guys have momentarily trapped Steph on the initial pick and roll. With Al's threat as a three-point shooter, this brings Turner out of the paint, and the extra pass to Jimmy has a 2-on-1 advantage. This is where I get pissed off with Jimmy and Draymond. You have literally an open layup and you're one of the more athletic players on the court. Why are you scared of 6'2" Ryan Rollins? The entire team and stadium can predict that these two are going to pass it out most of the time, which often lead to worse shots and turnovers. Jimmy wusses out at the last second right at the rim to pass it to the open Melton on the weak side. Yeah, it's an open 3, but I would 95% of the time take that automatic layup. Of course, Melton misses it, but look at Horford diving in for the offensive rebound with no box out over a known terrible rebound in Miles Turner. Immediate kick out again, and there's no way Melton is missing 2 of these in a row. Here's a simple play that can demonstrate how the offense expands with Jimmy Butler mismatches. Butler wants the ball at the wing on the mismatch in AJ Green. With Melton cutting to get the big man out of the way, known elite off-ball defender Kyle Kuzma is super focused on the potential drive. Even though Al is near the logo, I love the fact that he has the confidence to be ready for the open swing pass by Jimmy, and fundamentally steps into an open three-pointer. This is a practice shot, and if Al can make these with consistency, the Warriors offense will have two solid stretch bigs to play with. I love it when Guy, Al, and Melton are all in. It provides elite spacing and size and high IQ players. Guy sets the on-ball pick for Steph to attack the middle of the court, with Giannis reading Steph's shooting ability and coming up high on the level to screen the trap. The counter to the trap is the open short roll pass to Santos, who now has a 4-on-3 advantage. Golden State should get an open shot on 100% of these scenarios. There is literally no excuse. Porter Jr. comes to stunt from the strong side, while Turner naturally rotates as a rim protector. However, Rollins is already rotating as the weak side low man, but then slides up to X out to the two Warriors. He is simply too far from any rotation, but this first kick out to Al is already a semi-wide open three, but that extra pass to the corner just boosts overall team chemistry. Melton steps into a catch and shoot, and it's pure. There's just something stable about watching Horford play. I remember watching him a lot in the late 2010s on the Isaiah Thomas Celtics. He's not only going to set you solid screens here, but when Curry rejects the screen and with Portis in the show, Horford knows how to take advantage. Steph drags the double team out just a bit further before slinging it past to Horford on the weak side. And with a 2-on-1 advantage here, Gary Harris comes over the stunt because the Bucks would rather live with an open mid-range than the corner 3-ball. Al steps into a 16-footer, and this is beautiful offense. Now for this play, there is not much of a breakdown, but more of a display of the potential of De'Anthony Melton as a solid on-ball shot creator. With Kuzma playing a drop coverage with his hands down, Melton has the ability to create off the dribble as well. This is a privilege in the non-Steph minutes, as a guard who can make something out of nothing. Here he takes a flat-footed Kuzma off the dribble and goes to his strong right hand. Melton's able to get a straight line drive, and even with the help coming from the weak side by Portis, Melton's able to finish high off the glass for a contested layup. The Warriors have been in dire need of some sort of consistent rim protection over the years. Jackson Davis has shown some but fell out of the rotation, and Quentin Post has developed into a solid defensive center this year. But this is Al Horford's bread and butter. On a semi-fast break, Moody points at Horford to pick up the ball so he can go to Kuzma. Harris, for some reason, decides to take 40-year-old Horford one-on-one, hits him with a Euro step, then Horford gets the ball first before the refs call a foul. Classic. But Steve Kerr challenged this, and this was ruled a jump ball, and Horford ended up with a recorded block instead. Last but not least, let's abuse Kyle Kuzma again on defense. Pods is driving with his left hand, and Melton comes to run a ghost screen. For some reason, despite Pods not being that much of a threat on ball, Kuzma decides to leave his man to double Pajensky of all people. Simple pop out to the top of the key, and Pods makes the right basketball play. Melton's wide open and lines up the seams to nail another triple. There you guys have it. This felt like one of those wins where you could actually see the vision behind the offseason moves. Al Horford's decision making, spacing, and defense kept things organized, while De'Anthony Melton's activity, shot making, and defense gave the bench real life. When those two are now healthy and playing real minutes, the ball moves better and Steph and Jimmy don't have to force everything. You can feel the pace slow down a good way once they were on the floor, and the team looked more in control. That matters over a long season, especially with how road heavy the schedule has been this early. It also gives Kerr more lineup flexibility instead of leaning on the same groups every night, as the duo provide perimeter and paint defense while stretching the floor on offense. This kind of bench depth and veteran experience is exactly what becomes crucial later in the season and into the playoffs. The stars are already playing at a high level, but the Warriors only get back to that elite tier if the role players consistently play like solid role players and hold up their end. That was the entire point of making these huge offseason acquisitions, and I believe they are starting to pay off. This is why I like to see starting off the homestand, so if you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.